What is up, you amazing, beautiful people? I hope you are doing well wherever you're at and whatever time of day or night you do end up watching this video, because I have a Panzer 58 Mutts review for you today. I'll be going over the stats, telling you how I play the tank and how I recommend playing the tank, all that fun stuff. And then towards the end of the video, I will tell you if I do believe this tank is worth it or not, and what price ranges I would personally get it at. So without further ado, let's get right into the stats of this tank. For the survivability of the tank, your hit points are going to be 1,431. Your main armor for the turret on the front is going to be 120, for the sides 65, and for the rear of the turret 40. Now for the hull, the front of the hull is going to be 120, the sides 30, and the rear 40. And the chance of fire when the engine is hit is 12%. That is the first time I've seen it different than 20%, which I think is a big advantage of this tank. Well, not big, but you know what I mean. It is a pretty nice thing, just 8% off from chance of being on fire. And then the view range is 290.4 meters, which is pretty good. And for the concealment while stationary, you have 43%, while moving 37%, and upon firing while stationary 10%. For the fire, your damage per minute is going to be 2,393. For the reload time, it is going to be 5.64 seconds. For the average penetration for AP is going to be 212. For APCR, it is going to be 259. And for high explosive, 45. For the average damage, you will have, for the AP, 225. For APCR, 190. And for high explosive, 270. And for the aiming time, you have 3.6 seconds. For the dispersion at 100 meters, you have 0.308 meters. And for the gun elevation, you have 20 degrees. For gun depression, you have 10 degrees. So good amount of gun depression. As you guys know, I do really like gun depression on tanks, and 10 is a good amount. For the maneuverability, the top speed will be 50 going forward, and for reverse, 20. The average speed is going to be 36 kilometers an hour. The power to weight ratio is going to be 19.7 horsepower per ton, and for the weight is going to be 35 tons. And for the turn rate is going to be 43.74 degrees per second. For the hull turn rate is going to be 69.86 degrees per second. And for the terrain crossing capacity, for the road is going to be 123%, for the ground 100%, and for the water 79%. And finally, the engine power is 690 horsepower. So that does it for the stats of this tank. Overall, I think it's a very good tank and pretty good stats. Right off the bat, I can't really think of any problems. Maybe the penetration for like tier 9 tanks, but that's to be expected. They're tier 9 tanks. Other than that, no real complaints really, as long as you know how to play the tank. And for this first battle, we do get a first class 2.8k damage and a top gun. Also, this tank is a very good credit maker, so that is always a plus side for premium tanks. And earlier in this first battle, if you were paying attention at all, if not, you could go back real quick. Towards the start, when I went up to that mound in the spotting position, then went over to the left-hand side, I used this tank in a hold down position, and I used the turret mainly to get shots off. And that's mainly how you want to play. You want to get into positions, the spotting positions, if you can, before anyone on your team, and spot the enemy team. And then find another position, or the same position, up to you. Go there where you have good gun depression and you could get shots without being hit in return. That's at least how I play the tank, and I use the tank's good turret armor. This tank does have pretty good turret armor to get some nice bounces, that, as you will see in this battle. I take a shot at that M4A1 Rev, and he does bounce me in return. That Progetto is going to get gritty and rush forward. I'm using this tank's good gun depression, get a shot off on him. That's mainly how you want to play the tank. Like I said earlier, get spots, get into a good hold down position where you could use the tank's good gun depression and turret armor. As you could perfectly demonstrated right here, the gun depression and turret armor. The Progetto cannot pin me at all. However, I could pin his cheeks, which is very bad for him, and I don't think he pinned us once at all. So yeah, right there, that perfectly demonstrated how to play the game. At least play this tank, my bad. Spot, get into a position right like that, get shots off, and if you can, don't take any shots in return. That's mainly how you want to play the game. get shots off without being hit. But you want to play conservative in this tank, since it is a medium, not too heavily armored, but besides the turret, as you saw, if you get into a nice position, won't get pinned if you're only showing your turret. And you could get some lucky and troll bounces off on the hull, just the front hull and all that, just randomly get a nice bounce off. But pick and choose your battles. Like right here, I decided to push out in the open against the M4A1 Rev. And the reason why I did that, my thought process, was if I stayed there, the M4A1 Rev would have went around and hit me from behind, and the enemy team would have just rushed in, mainly that ISU 152, and gotten shots off on me. So at the time of playing this battle, I felt like I had to rush around and kind of trap him where it was me, him, and then my team. He was stuck in the middle, and we were all getting shots in on him. And I did get a lucky bounce from that ISU 152, as I was saying earlier. You could get some troll and lucky bounces off on this tank. But I'm going to focus that VK. Just whittle his HP down so I can get that one shot. Wait for the reload. And also, waiting for your camo to reset is very good in this tank also. Mainly in any tank if you're spotted. That just goes without saying, but I felt like I should say that just in case you guys don't know about it. Usually takes like 9 seconds after that light bulb pops off. And I got a little greedy right there. I poked up and I got a shot off on the ISU. However, he took me out of the game. But it's a 6v1. There's no way we could lose this unless my team got really bad out of nowhere. And that Scorp is going to take out that ISU. But yeah, that's mainly how I would play the tank. It's always situational. You got to keep an eye on the battle and how it's going. But overall, that's how I would play the tank. Spot, get into a good haul down position where I can use the turret and the gun depression, and try not to take any shots in return while dishing out the damage. But it always depends on the situation and how the battle's going. Sometimes you will have to go out and take shots to reposition, or you will have to duke it out with enemies. It all just depends on how the battle's going, and you have to read that and make decisions off of that. But for this game, we decided to go over to base C right off the bat. Normally I would go base B, but since I was over here, I figured I'd cap out base C and then make my way over back to base B. But if I spawned in over on the left-hand side towards, what is that, base 3, right there on the mini-map, if I spawned at the green base 3, I would have rushed over to base B, got in spots off, and I probably would have stayed there, to be honest, using my gun depression, peek over the ridge, and get shots off if there were enemies there. But in this instance, I spawned at base 1, I believe. Went straight to base C, capped it out. Now I'm working my way over to base B, but then I decided to go over here between base A and B, see if I could get some spots off. And there we go. There's the P-44 Panzer. Get a shot off on him and get back into cover. And right here is a good position where I could get hull down and use the tank's gun depression. I see the AMX is pushing me. However, my teammate blocked me. Never do that. That is really annoying. And it doesn't help your team out at all. I understand if it's like all bunched up in an accident, but don't block your teammates. And I took a shot from the AMX. And since the Bulldog rushed in, the enemy team right here is focusing him, I decided to rush in as well. Looking back on it, I should probably have flanked around. But since that other enemy tank did not quite get the name of it, came in and hit me, I decided to find cover as fast as possible and focus the most dangerous tank right now that I could take out of the game, and that is the P-44 Pantera. Now that I'm in cover, I can focus that other low HP tank, the AMX, since he was not focusing me, and I got 2 tanks out of the game already. I noticed that J Panther 2 pushing up, so I had to focus him, because if not, he could have focused me and easily took me out of the game. So I focused him, and my teammate does take him out. Next is the Tiger P, and this is not a very good position, since that Tiger P could just pull up and get shots on me like he did there. I'm just trying to find out where to go right now, and I figure I have to take the hit right here, and I need to quickly move out of the way. Like I was saying earlier, sometimes you're going to have to take hits in order to reposition. I tried to get a snapshot off, however, it did not connect. And I was thinking, what if I went down here, went all the way back to our spawn, and I flanked the enemy? But I noticed that FB, he is pushing around And if I went on the beach, he would have most likely went on the beach too and just cut me off and taken me out of the game. So kind of a bad situation here. I decided to turn around and focus these enemy's tanks. Try to take out that 59 pattern. Our teammates take him out instead. I get one final shot off on the IS-2 before he is taken out of the game, leaving us at 3,293 damage. If I gotten some more damage off or stayed alive a bit longer, I would have gotten a mastery. But we are going to check out our teammates and see what he's doing. The object should be able to take out that Tiger P in one shot. However, he uses HE, and the Tiger is left on very low HP. Our teammates over here look to be doing pretty good. WZ gets a nasty shot off. IS-3 rams the FV. Our object, is he going to be able to take out the enemy this time? Pushes up, and he does take out the enemy tank. And I believe the IS-3 takes out the FV for the win. So overall, do I think this tank is worth it? Yes, this is an extremely good tank, and I really do believe it is worth it. Very good tank, and I always enjoy playing it whenever I do. Now for the price ranges, for gold, the highest I would go is anywhere between 10,000 gold or 12,000 gold. And if it's even lower, go ahead and jump on that offer. And if it comes out for money, highest I would go is like $15 or $17. But yeah, if you have liked the video, smash that like button. Leave a comment your favorite part of the video or anything in general down in the comment section below. Subscribe and hit that bell notification so you're always notified when I upload a new video. That being said, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.
How does it feel to breathe?